Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our channel once again. Rigathi Gachagua was in Machakos earlier today. And I must confess that I was actually surprised to see the huge turnout, the number of people who turned up to receive Rigathi Gachagua in Machakos. And I asked myself one question: whether Kalonzo Musyoka can attract such kind of a crowd in Machakos. Of course, we know that Machakos will always vote for Kalonzo Musyoka to the last man. But do they always turn up in that large numbers? And I paid very close attention to Rigathi Gachagua's speeches.
Huyu Kalonzo huyu unadharau. Hii Wakamba hawa unadharau hawa. Hawa watakuja kupeleka wewe nyumbani. Sia alikuwa anadharau mimi ati ni mtu mdogo. Alikuwa amenidharau. Ati atanifukuza wiki mbili nitasaulika. Nimechukua kila mtu alikuwa kwake. Sasa yeye ni minority katika Kenya. Sasa yeye vile niliondoa watu yangu, saa hii huyu Raila Odinga akimwambia Ruto amuoshe miguu atamuosha. Because amekwama. Ni kama mgonjwa akiwa katika ICU ako kwa life support machine. Life support machine ya William Ruto today ni Raila Odinga. Ikizimwa kwisha.
And of course the confession by Dorcas Gachagua.
Before 2022, we came here and we had prayers for this nation with 6,000 bishops and pastors, and God gave us a leader. Our bishop was talking about MOU. The person who was signing the MOU, the main lawyer, amekaa hapa. Si ulikuwa hapo? 1,000 pastors and bishops went, and we were given a memorandum of understanding that the church will be able to thrive in this administration. There is no one time atauliza wachungaji that the church has suffered in the history of this country. The church has really suffered. But we know there is a God who is working things around, and I know freedom of worship is not negotiable.
It is obvious that Rigathi Gachagua is confident that they are going to win in 2027. And that win is going to be first round.
This election coming 2027, we and you shall win this election round one. And there will be no runoff. There will be no runoff. I want to assure you.
I want you guys to listen to Rigathi Gachagua because I have bad news for him. The truth of the matter, and I've always stated this on this platform on many occasions, that William Ruto is the easiest president to remove from office. But again, William Ruto is not an ordinary politician. William Ruto is a schemer, and William Ruto can do anything to achieve his objectives. So before Rigathi Gachagua can exhibit such kind of overconfidence, he should ask Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta some very hard questions. Listening to Rigathi Gachagua.
Sisi na nyinyi tunataka tukue Mount Kenya moja. Let us unite and we join other Kenyans as one group. Mimi nisiende peke yangu, Kalonzo asiende peke yake. Kwanza tufanye nini? Tuunganishe. Once tumeunganisha, tuko na marafiki wengi sana. Hapo Masaini iko sawa. Hapo Kisii iko sawa. Hapo Mlembe Nation iko sawa. Pale Pwani iko sawa. This election coming 2027, we and you shall win this election round one. And there will be no runoff. There will be no runoff. I want to assure you. Na mimi niwahakikishie nyinyi. Mimi na Kalonzo hatuwezi wachana. Kwani sisi ni wajinga? Tukiwachana sisi tumeisha? Sisi we are not stupid. Kalonzo ni mzee kidogo kuliko mimi, ni wakili, ako na experience ya kutosha. Anajua. Mimi huyu Ruto ndio ninamuelewa zaidi. Fahali ya kuzamisha mimi niko na funguo. Nyinyi msijali, mutulie. Nyinyi muungane. Na tukue marafiki. Na juu ya kupiga kura pamoja, tufanye biashara pamoja. Na tuoane pia. Huyu mreu ametoa bibi hapa. Si umesikia vile anasorota kikamba? Tuoane pia, tuzae watoto. This mountain must be one. And I want to assure you, the people of Ukambani, if we unite as Mount Kenya, as Gema, for the next 100 years, we shall be in government at every election.
Ladies and gentlemen, the truth of the matter is that removing William Ruto from office is very easy on paper. But William Ruto is a scheme. Number one, William Ruto currently is a sitting president. This is a man who, against all odds, managed to defeat a combined force of Raila and Uhuru by rigging. What do you think can stop him? William Ruto is a man who understands the game. Rigathi Gachagua just the other day confessed how William Ruto told him that you just lie to Kenyans and then they'll believe you. I saw William Ruto donating 20 million in a church and people were clapping for him. And again, he promised 100 million Kenya shillings. And the same people clapped for him. So William Ruto is not a pushover. So let me advise Rigathi Gachagua, because I know for sure that Ruto is easy to remove, but the overconfidence Rigathi Gachagua exhibited today is dangerous for them. Before I get into all those details, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, allow me to dive in. First of all, Rigathi Gachagua is forgetting that William Ruto is a schemer. I'm 100% sure that as we speak, as Rigathi Gachagua was speaking, William Ruto has already infiltrated their camp. There are people in those meetings, the strategy meetings they are organizing, who are recording everything and giving to William Ruto. Of course, Rigathi Gachagua understands William Ruto's game plan. But William Ruto is a man who is a big schemer. So they should fear about William Ruto's schemes of infiltration. And how can they stop infiltration? I don't know the strategy they can use to stop their camp from being infiltrated. Because the truth is, their camp is also very desperate for support. The other day, I saw Professor Kivutha Kibwana joining them. And I wondered, there's also the IBC, which William Ruto is currently scheming with. For you to win the presidency, you must be declared by IBC. You must have serious networks and strategies to stop IBC. If Odinga could not, this team must be very careful. The other important thing, and this is what Ruto is scheming for with, is the deep state. People underrate the power of the deep state because the alleged deep state never delivered for Odinga. The truth is, William Ruto in the last election went and picked the deep state. So Uhuru just had the deep state on paper. But the guy who had the deep state was William Ruto. I'm not so sure whether Rigathi Gachagua has deep state as we speak. But you can't underrate the deep state. That is the chiefs, their assistants, and that network. So before promising that they'll win in the first round, they must be very careful. Because I know for sure that William Ruto can even decide to sponsor a candidate. They can decide. I doubt if the mountain will not have a presidential candidate. And my sixth sense is telling me that Ruto might actually sponsor Ndindi Nyoro to run. If Ndindi Nyoro were to run in the mountain today, the mountain might go for him. And that will occasion a rerun. So that's number one. Ruto schemes. Number two, Rigathi Gachagua is also underrating the power of political interest of the individual aspirants. So far, in their camp, Rigathi Gachagua is willing to sacrifice. In that camp, there is Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. In that camp, there is Martha Karua. In that camp, based on the figures Rigathi gave, the Kisii, they are banking on Matiang'i in that camp. Here's where the hard work will begin. You deny Matiang'i the ticket. How sure are you that the Kisiis will vote for your candidate? You deny Kalonzo the ticket. The Kambas will not vote for you the way they would have voted for Kalonzo Musyoka. What are you offering the Luhya nation? Because in Nairobi, Rigathi has made it very clear that for Nairobi governor, the person who is going to take it is going to come from the mountain. So what are you going to give the Luhya nation? All these politicians who will be running, they have their personal interest first. That is exactly what failed Raila Odinga in the last election. There was Mudavadi who had his interest. There was Kingi who had his interest. There was Wetangula who had his interest. They failed Raila Odinga. I'm very doubtful if this camp can team up until the next election. The third thing which I think is underestimating, and it's very dangerous for him and for that camp, is the influence of Raila Amolo Odinga. You can say what you want, but you can never underrate the influence and the power of Raila Amolo Odinga. Raila Odinga is the only politician in the Republic of Kenya who has followers. People who can actually follow him deep inside Lake Victoria. He also has supporters just like the rest. He might appear weak today, but you never know his power. So by assuming that the Kisiis will follow Matiang'i, that the lawyers will follow, is it Wamalwa? That the coastal region will vote for you to get 50+1%, 50% plus one vote. That's dreaming. And he's making it very clear that they don't need Raila Odinga. Of course, Raila Odinga is going to support William Ruto. It requires a strategy to win the support of Raila Odinga supporters. Because one thing I've learned over the years is that anytime you try to antagonize Raila Odinga, his supporters unite. Rigathi Gachagua's allies are trying so hard to antagonize Raila Odinga. That is very dangerous for them. So they'd rather look for a better strategy of winning the support of Raila Odinga. You saw what happened in Busia. The turnout during Raila Odinga's rally in Busia was huge. So that's number 3. Number 4, so far, I'm yet to see, I don't know the name to give that group, but I'm yet to see their grassroots network. I must confess that personally I admire Kalonzo Musyoka, but I stopped taking Kalonzo Musyoka seriously because I didn't see any move he was making. There is no way you can win the presidency by failing to have networks, grassroots networks across the country. Kalonzo does not have that. Matiang'i is still outside. It takes time to create networks. Rigathi was with Ruto. He should have known this better. That Ruto even started by creating hustlers what from the ground. So that if you come to my village in Ramogi, in Nyakach, then you can tell huyu ni mtu wa UDA, huyu ni mtu wa UDA. Ruto did that. Gachagua is not doing that yet. Kalonzo cannot. So far, he cannot. Maybe in Ukambani. But you need this, the entire country. Remember, I told you, Ruto is a schemer. That was my first point. He's also scheming with the northern Kenya. In the northern Kenya, with the vast land there, number 4, is it number 5 now? There is the Gen Z factor, which they are banking on. A very good voting bloc. Very good. But how sure are they that the Gen Zs will vote for them? Because I doubt, with the rage Gen Zs have, of course, Kalonzo, for example, has tried so hard to align himself with the Gen Zs. But are they the Gen Zs candidate? The Gen Zs of the Republic of Kenya might decide to support someone else. They might decide to produce their own candidate, rally around that candidate, and that will be a headache for them. One thing I keep on saying here, that in 2027, we are likely to have a 3-horse race. As long as we are going to have a serious 3-horse race, Matiang'i will be on the ballot, Kalonzo, Ruto. That's a 3-horse race. None of them will get a 50% plus on vote. And lastly, which is one of William Ruto's biggest strength, is the power of the money. Rigathi Gachagua himself, using his own mouth, not last week, but this week, not just this week, yesterday, told Kenyans that if you go to State House today, or if you go to Deputy President's residence in Karen, you will find a container, right? That container is full of money. In the last election, Ruto never won the support of the mountain. He bought it. Today alone, Ruto has started that. He gave 20 million, people clap for him, another 100 million, promise. Yesterday, you saw Kimani Ichung'wah giving William Ruto's donation of how much? 5 million. And his personal donation of? Kindiki is currently meeting people, giving them money. And they know their target. Their target is Mount Kenya. And remember, there is also what is called voter suppression. Ruto will simply need to suppress the votes in the mountain. He will just convince the mountain through the NIS that they don't have a presidential candidate, therefore there's no need for them. They don't have a stake in the government which is going to be formed. So their voting numbers will be suppressed. 50+1 will never be met. So for Rigathi Gachagua, he needs to start thinking very hard the best way to get that 50% plus 1, not just confessing it. Until next time, this is Makwiny. Bye-bye.